And for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports Black Friday and Thanksgiving online sales in the United States surged to record highs as shoppers bagged deep discounts and bought more on their mobile devices, heralding a promising start to the key holiday season, according to retail analytics firms. U.S. retailers raked in a record $7.9 billion in online sales on Black Friday and Thanksgiving, up 17.9% from 1 year ago, according to Adobe Analytics, which measures transactions at the largest 100 U.S. web retailers. Adobe said Cyber Monday is expected to drive $6.6 billion in internet sales, which would make it the largest U.S. online shopping day in history. In the run-up to the holiday weekend, traditional retailers invested heavily in improving their websites and bulking up delivery options, preempting a decline in visits to brick-and-mortar stores. Commerce marketing firm Criteo said 40% of Black Friday online purchases were made on mobile phones, up from 29% last year. No brick-and-mortar sales data for Thanksgiving or Black Friday was immediately available. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Police in Lehman, Michigan describe a local student's recently foiled plans to commit a deadly school shooting as, quote, embarrassingly bad. Authorities apprehended 17-year-old Trent Bayer Thursday after finding him in an empty hallway struggling to load a pathetically small-caliber pistol while simultaneously attempting to unfold an inaccurate map of the school. Lehman Police Chief Ethan Holman elaborated several ways Bayer's strategy could have been more effective, including setting off a homemade explosive in the teacher's lounge, executing popular students first, and at the very least purchasing some military fatigues.
You're not going to intimidate anyone by wearing a tucked-in button-down shirt and pleated trousers.
In other news, a jar of change on a dresser is sadly factoring into a number of financial decisions. A teen zebra doesn't give a shit how much you honk, it's not getting out of the road. And Dad's new 20-year-old Thai boyfriend really sucks at categories. And don't forget to never ever drink Pepsi Cola, whose dipshit marketing team backed out of a full-page ad buy at the last minute. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio here. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype in and join us there at Skype username LRN.FM. In the studio with you tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And Melanie.
Of course, we bring things in that you might find interesting. I know, Melanie, there was a headline recently about a cop that got killed in Baltimore, and you say that that could very well have been the Baltimore Police Department who did the killing.
That's what it looks like to me based on what The Intercept had to say about it.
This cop was awaiting some sort of trial, right, where he was going to be testifying against corrupt cops or something? What happened?
They didn't go into what the trial was, but he was going to testify against the police department the next day.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. So I guess if you're going to hide a body, you have to, shut the whole town down.
Wow. We can talk more about that coming up here. Your thoughts are welcome, of course, on whatever's on your mind. Also, the robot that was recently given citizenship in Saudi Arabia is now saying she wants to start a family. We'll tell you about that coming up, too. But first, Dan is in Nebraska to start things out here tonight, listening online. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Ian. Hey, Melanie.
Hey.
I just,
Welcome.
I'm a follower of the Rubin Report on YouTube, and today I noticed that the person they had on as guest was Roger Ver, who I've actually seen on, I haven't seen, but I heard him on your show.
I don't know what the Rubin Report is. Is that some sort of money talk thing, or what is that?
No, so it's actually a pretty bit. It's like, I know this is going to sound like almost contradictory, but for like a YouTube talk show, it's pretty big. This is a guy who used to be on like some sort of other network like Oracle, and then he ended up having his show go independent, and he's internet only, but it's a pretty big show. He usually, what he calls himself a classical liberal who usually brings on libertarians or right-wing people to, I guess, have these long conversations with. he doesn't ever bring on people who he is like, I think, fully in agreement with. He tries to only bring on people who he disagrees with in at least some way. But today he basically did a big interview with Roger where he was talking to him about basically just the essentials for people. What is Bitcoin? And then asked a little bit about Roger's own history as far as, his American citizenship and the whole thing with the prison fireworks. I think, like the whole spiel, right?
Yeah, you're referring to Roger Ver, who is a longtime supporter of Free Talk Live. He is also known as Bitcoin Jesus because he is known for just spreading Bitcoin around and introducing people to Bitcoin and spending a whole lot of his own money promoting Bitcoin. He's the guy that runs Bitcoin.com. Big player in the world of Bitcoin, and also very, very controversial figure because, well, he didn't side with what the Bitcoin Core programmers wanted, which was this big conflict that happened over the last couple of years. And Roger is a very controversial character as a result of him sticking by his principles, which are very libertarian, very voluntarist principles. And some of the people in the Bitcoin world don't like him for that. But, yeah, that's who Roger Ver is for listeners that don't know.
On the show today, he actually referred to them as Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SegWit. So I've never heard anybody refer to them both as that. I've usually heard Core or Legacy, but
I personally wouldn't refer to it that way. I think it just even adds even more confusion into the mix. SegWit is a term, for those that don't know, that it has to do with a technological supposed advance for Bitcoin that's supposed to help with Bitcoin being able to scale to larger consumer demand. However, even some of the Bitcoin Core programmers agree that SegWit isn't going to do anything to reduce fees in the long run. So I understand Roger being skeptical of SegWit, which is short for segregated witness. But ultimately, it seems that the most accurate term to me at least, for the sort of legacy or original Bitcoin is Bitcoin Core. That's the name of the programming team that is programming the full node software that one can go and download at bitcoin.org, which has historically been sort of the official site for Bitcoin. But now that there's Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold and this sort of original Bitcoin, it makes sense to add a word to Bitcoin to differentiate which one you're talking about. And so calling it Bitcoin Core just makes the most sense to me. But that's one thing that people need to try to get on the same page about, I think, is referring to the same Bitcoin as 2 or 3 different terms is even more confusing than having to try to explain to people that there are 3 different forms of Bitcoin out there in the marketplace right now. So I don't agree with calling it Bitcoin SegWit. I think that just is even more confusing. But it's already a very confusing world, and I think that's unfortunate.
Well, before I go, I just want to say I also got an update from RT today that it crossed like 10,000 in South Korea or something like that. Like there was an exchange over in Asia where one actually went for 10,000, over 10,000 for the first time.
That's huge. That is amazing, and it's probably going to be a matter of hours before that happens again. According to the, let's see here, Bitcoin average right now, the price over $9,700 U.S. dollars. So we're already talking about today's record high of $9,757. So it's just, we could be at 10,000 by the end of the show tonight, the way the Bitcoin price has been going up over the last few days. So it is very exciting to watch. Dan, thanks for your call here tonight.
No problem.
I appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Very exciting times for folks who are in the Bitcoin world. And as he pointed out, also very confusing times. What with all these Bitcoin forks going on, you've got Bitcoin Cash that happened back in August, which was the first time Bitcoin ever forked into 2 competing Bitcoin currencies. Of course, there's also over 1,000 altcoins out there that are also competing against Bitcoin. But now in the top 5 of the cryptocurrency charts, you can go to coinmarketcap.com and see that. The top 5 include 3 different Bitcoins. So there's Bitcoin at number 1, there's Bitcoin Cash at number 3, and then Bitcoin Gold at number 5. Bitcoin Gold was the second fork of Bitcoin that happened back in late October. And now, Friday or something like that, I think it was, or maybe it was last Friday, the Friday before that, but within the last couple of weeks, there has been another claimed fork This one calling itself Bitcoin Diamond. However, unlike the previous forks of Bitcoin, according to Medium.com, they say here that Bitcoin Diamond is a scam with huge red flags. They say do not get scammed into buying Bitcoin blood diamonds. They point out a couple of things, that the Bitcoin Diamond Twitter account was registered in November of this year. The Bitcoin Diamond Telegram group is announce only and was created also in this month of this year. There's no activity there, just jokes. Their domain name was registered on November 3rd of this month and registered anonymously. Their domain is btcd.io. They say that they believe that a Chinese exchange, exx.com, is probably behind this scam. And they say that if we see the Telegram account of Bitcoin Diamond, we see the words welcome written in Chinese. We also see a screenshot dated November 18th, which shows that Bitcoin Diamond was traded against the Chinese yen before the snapshot date. The Telegram also laughs at this like it's a big joke. They then go on to claim that the team is anonymous. They do not announce on their website who the people are that are behind this Bitcoin Diamond. But most importantly, there is no source code. And so nobody who wants to can go in and audit this Bitcoin Diamond code. Because in order for there to be a fork of Bitcoin, there has to be a way to mine that other fork. There has to be a way to claim your Bitcoin Diamond to, use their software. They don't have any software that they've released. So how they can even claim that there has been a fork successfully, I don't know. There's also no wallet support. Because there's no source code, hardware wallets like Ledger and Trezor will not support Bitcoin Diamond at this time. It says here that Bitcoin Diamond only lists some shady wallets on their website, and they spell it WALLTETS on their site. So probably not a legitimate fork of Bitcoin. And that, of course, raises the question of how many of these forks that are still to come are going to be legitimate versus some sort of scam to try to steal your Bitcoins. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Called it elephant skin. It was rough, wrinkly, like a Brillo pad.
His hair was falling out in clumps.
Petey stopped eating and all his hair fell out.
Our golden retriever, Sundance, he scratched incessantly. There was hair all over.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Within 2 weeks, the shedding slowed down to almost none. The scratching went away after a few days, and Sundance's coat was starting to get shiny and glossy.
It's a 180 turnaround. His skin has cleared up. He is not in pain.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching,
do the Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try. Dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at Dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You've heard a lot of talk about Bitcoin out there, maybe in the news or on this show. If you're brand new to it, great place to go and get started to learn about the basics is Bitcoin.com. They do a great job of cluing you in as to what Bitcoin is and how it works over there, getting you started with your first Bitcoin wallet, and helping you get your first Bitcoin, or fraction of it. It's getting a little more difficult to buy one whole Bitcoin, as the price of a Bitcoin is pushing close to 10,000 US dollars. Go to Bitcoin.com to learn more there. You can also get their news site over at news.bitcoin.com, and they'll keep you in the loop with the latest developments in the Bitcoin world, which is, there's always something new every single day. So without getting further into Bitcoin, because we certainly could, but we did that over the weekend, Melanie, you had a story about this cop that was killed in Baltimore who was scheduled to testify apparently against the department the next day.
Right. So he was scheduled to testify the next day. He went out with a partner who was not his regular partner, and they were looking for a homicide suspect for a year-old homicide case, which is an odd thing to be doing in the first place. Him and his partner split up on the building, which, I mean, cops split up, by each entrance or whatever, but that also kind of seems like something you might send more than 2 people to if you need to surround the building or something like that.
Right, for a potential murderer.
Right.
Yeah.
So then
someone who's probably not going to go quietly.
Yeah.
If you catch him.
Yeah, he has no reason not to fight. He's, looking at it at least life in prison or the death penalty, whichever one of those you consider to be worse. But so that he was shot to death he was shot and ended up dead, but he was shot there, separated from his partner, but then they somehow have a description of the suspect who shot him.
Okay.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So instead of calling an ambulance, then they put him in the cop car to drive him to the hospital, which I can see the argument for, because personally that might be what I would do depending on what city I was in, because I can just drive. Right. But then on the way to the hospital, they had a collision with another Baltimore PD cruiser.
What?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
About 0, I think.
Yeah. All right.
So then he got taken to the hospital where he later died. There is currently a $215,000 reward for his killer. No one
So
has...
he got away. The shooter, the murderer here, the alleged murderer, got away.
I think he's currently sitting in the Baltimore Police Department, but he's not under indictment. And no one has come forward with any information. And that's a life-changing amount of money. If this was just a regular person, and The Intercept points this out, if this was a civilian...
They wouldn't be offering $200,000.
Well, no, I think they'd still be offering... People donate to those kinds of things. I think that the award amount would still be that high. But somebody would have shown up to collect it by now.
Okay.
Is the opinion shared by both The Intercept and myself. Because, I mean, that kind of money brings you from poverty to middle class.
Yeah, to
like,
homeownership.
Kind of skip over, like, lower class. Just, like, from poverty to owning a house.
Yeah.
Like,
and this was supposedly not a very nice neighborhood that they had gone into.
This is Baltimore.
Yeah.
So
there's got to be a nice part of Baltimore. I've never been there, so I can't comment.
I don't know if there is, but there's no reason to me why there has to be.
Okay.
There's plenty of places where there's not a nice part of it. So if that was just a civilian, I don't think that nobody would be showing up for that kind of money. I'm sure somebody saw it, but I could see how if it was a cop that did it, you might not want to, kill yourself for that kind of money, which is what you would be doing. So
Sure, because they just killed this guy, and so you would be next if you were a cop.
I mean, even without that, it's pretty much a death sentence. But
awfully coincidental. Now, I have to wonder, what was it that he was intending to testify about? Do you know anything about the court case that he was a witness in?
It doesn't say. It just says it was against Baltimore PD.
Yeah, it sounds like he crossed the wrong people. You don't want to be, in the police department. You cross the wrong guy, you end up dead, and that's why you never really see the good cops, right? There's all the talk about, there's plenty of good cops. People will tell you it's just a few bad apples, but the fact is, where are they? Why don't the good cops come out and reveal the bad apples? Why don't the good cops arrest the bad apples? Why don't the good cops stop the bad apples from committing violent acts and committing criminal acts against good, peaceful people? The reason why they don't, because I think that there are cops who got in. I mean, I've met them. Cops who claim they got into that world because they wanted to go after bad guys. They wanted to stop criminals.
Right, and I'm sure that there's people who go in that way, but you don't stay there any length of time. And look, I mean, this guy had it coming. He was in Baltimore PD for 18 years. There's no way.
So you're saying he was crooked too?
He's a cop. Whether he was crooked or not, I think that's kind of a legality. He was immoral because he was a cop. So it's he's not really a sympathetic victim, in my opinion, or a victim at all necessarily, depending on, you can argue that, but.
Well, you can argue it. I'm not going to argue it. We actually got a call this weekend by somebody who was upset over last Monday's show where you had referenced, I think it might have been this cop that had gotten killed, and you were jubilant about it. And all I had said at the time was, well, violence isn't the answer. And we didn't get into.
I don't remember being that jubilant about it. Maybe I was. I definitely
you were happy
wasn't.
About it.
Okay. I definitely wasn't upset about it.
You made some kind of comment about how it was a good thing. But anyway, the guy called to complain about that I didn't call you out more vociferously about that. And I had to explain, well, you could call and talk to Melanie yourself on Monday night about your concerns. But ultimately, I did say that violence isn't the answer, but I didn't want to break down the conversation that we were having to talk about, what you had just referenced again there, the idea that you could argue that this cop wasn't a victim. So
right, so this case is weird because they were definitely corrupt for killing him. They killed him for the wrong reasons and then clearly shut down a city to cover it up. That doesn't make him an innocent victim. So he, if two people in the mafia get in a shootout over, who owns what block, I don't know if that mafia actually operates that way, but over whatever, somebody's cut of something, they didn't kill the other person for good reasons, but it's not like they didn't have it coming. They were a violent oppressor against third-party innocent victims, and now they can't do that anymore.
Do you
because
not
they're
believe
dead.
in forgiveness? Is it possible for, let's accept your premise that all cops inherently are immoral because they're doing a job that is immoral in that they're enforcing these statutes, ordinances, whatever, on people, and many of these ordinances and statutes are victimless crimes, and so they're constantly, whether it's pulling people over for speeding or running through a stop sign or having a plant, arresting them for having a plant or underage possession of alcohol, all these victimless crimes, your argument is, well, they're immoral because of that, and so therefore you don't feel bad when bad things happen to them. But what if, this guy was trying to do the right thing,
It's about
right?
the victims.
Wasn't this guy
he was still
trying
a
to
cop.
do the right thing by testifying
18
against
years later, he's still a cop.
the police department? But can they ever come back from that in your mind? Melanie, will continue in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Melanie.
Also, don't forget, you can check us out online over at freetalklive.com. And if you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, join Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy, fees are low, and transactions are quick and can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. You can take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Just go to dash.org and you can find out why. The price of Dash also has been going up. Of course, Bitcoin is at record highs again today, but Dash has also in the last few days found itself at record highs. Right now, it is at around $615 for one Dash. By comparison, a year ago, it was probably closer to $100. So it's also had a nice little rise. Check out dash.org to learn more about that. So, Melanie, you and I, we were talking about this cop in Baltimore who was killed on a strange assignment a day before he was expected to testify in court against the Baltimore Police Department. Now, we're not real clear on what exactly that testimony was regarding, but presumably, if he was testifying against the police department, there would have been some people in the police department who did not want that to occur, and they may have indeed set him up to perish, to kill this man. In this situation, he did die. The alleged shooter is still on the run, so we don't know where that person is. And then, as you said, apparently they crashed into another Baltimore PD cruiser while trying to get him to the hospital after the shooting, which presumably delayed his arrival to the point where he died. Do we know if he died when he got to the hospital, or was it prior to, as he was still en route? Just a curiosity.
I don't know. I don't know if they said that.
Well, either way, he did perish, and so now obviously he won't be testifying against Baltimore PD. And it led me to kind of a larger question, because you tend to kind of get excited when police get offed, whether it be by their fellow cops or some crook in the streets or whatever, or somebody defending their own home from home invasion being committed by the police. Whenever a cop dies, you tend to be somewhat jubilant about it. You are of the belief system, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that the police are constantly aggressing against people. And so even if a cop is just walking down the street, you believe that just by virtue of the fact that they have a uniform and a badge, they've accepted the role of police officer, therefore they must be doing immoral things
and
generally.
More importantly, they're advertising themselves to be a U.S. police officer, and that has certain connotations. That says they will arrest you for victimless crimes. In some areas, that says they'll plant evidence. In some areas, it doesn't. It says they will pull you over with kind of on flimsy reasons. They didn't like the way you were driving, even if you were driving safely or for whatever reason. But that they will enforce a whole slew of victimless crimes, and they are communicating that that is a threat. If you or I said that, nobody would have a problem with if somebody was walking down the street announcing, I'm going to beat you to the ground, handcuff you, and cage you and keep you in my basement for 5 years if I see you smoking a joint on your own property or operating a business without giving me a cut or something like that. Nobody would have a problem with saying, or at least no anarchist would have a problem with saying, that person is committing a threat. So why, because you put a badge on, that makes it different is really not something I feel like anarchists should have a problem with.
I have a problem with collectivizing, where you're acting as though all police are the same. simply because they have a badge and a uniform on. Isn't it possible? I mean, we've talked to cops on this show and former cops who've said that they tried not to enforce victimless crimes against people, that they would let people go, look the other way, ignore possession.
Okay, so just because somebody doesn't kidnap everybody they see
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean they're not a kidnapper. It doesn't mean they're not in the business of kidnapping.
Yeah, but you don't know. I mean, you're jumping to a conclusion about
I
what
know
that
what they
person is.
said. They said,
Right.
I will be a cop. They said, I will enforce these laws, and I know what these laws include.
But there are some laws they don't enforce because they don't have to. They have discretion, so they can choose to not enforce certain laws if they want to.
They don't have that much discretion. If a cop decides not to enforce victimless crimes, he's not going to be a cop for that long.
That's only if the department finds out about it, you know.
How do they not find out about it? He has an arrest.
Well, they would have to put an undercover agent out there to investigate him. They'd have to put out somebody
okay, but if
with
he's
a bag
coming
of
back
weed.
without tickets and he's coming back without arrests, he's not going to stay a cop.
No, I see what you're saying. I'm not saying he wouldn't make arrests. Like, a cop could, in theory, not make victimless crime arrests and only make actual arrests for real crimes. Now, that would mean that he wouldn't get very many arrests compared to the rest of the cops. And I see what you're saying, that you don't believe that his career would continue in that case. And certainly...
And in any case, there's the same laws, regardless of what cop you're standing in front of. The same laws are on the books. And then there's the same ones. And there are some like really obscure laws that nobody ever enforces. But the same general laws that are kind of common knowledge are the same regardless of what cop's standing in front of you. So if somebody's communicating to you, I will enforce the laws of Keene Police Department, Baltimore Police Department, Boston Police Department, whatever police department, you have no reason to assume that they're lying to you.
Sure, I agree with you there.
I mean, are you really are you telling me that you have an expectation of not being arrested if there's a random cop in uniform and you just, or not even walking down the sidewalk? So that would be unrealistic probability, even in your own front yard or your friend's front yard that's in a place maybe other than Keene, that you have absolutely no expectation of having something bad happen to you if you decide to smoke a joint in front of somebody who is dressed as a cop.
No, you're right. I would presume something bad is going to happen because that person is dressed as a cop.
Because they're communicating that they will assault and kidnap you.
Yes, that's right. Generally, that's true. But there are exceptions to that rule. And when a cop ends up, dead because he wanted to testify against the police department, in this case in Baltimore, that sounds to me like that cop was probably doing the right thing.
Okay, so maybe that one was a net loss. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how much longer he was going to be a cop and aggress against other people.
He may have had a long history of being a corrupt cop himself. I mean, it may have been corrupt cop versus corrupt cop. I
don't even care if he's a corrupt cop. Corrupt kind of entails acting illegally. You don't have to act illegally to even just be, a heinous police officer.
Sure, to do immoral things.
Right. So, I mean, that's kind of the job description. Do heinously immoral things. Police department, hiring, whatever.
Can a police officer earn forgiveness for the bad things that person has done in the past?
Well, they would have to stop doing them, first of all.
Okay.
So... And then that's not really...
What about Barry Cooper, for instance? Do you know who Barry Cooper is?
No.
Okay, so Barry Cooper was a drug cop, so like one of the worst.
Oh, is that the
right. He created
Officers Against Prohibition guy?
Well, he was in Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, but got kicked out. Barry Cooper made a video series called Never Get Busted, and so he was
Okay, yeah, I know him. I don't know him, but I know of him.
Yes, so he was a drug cop in Texas and was like the top drug narcotics cop out there. So he did a lot of bad things. He busted a lot of peaceful people who just had a plant or whatever, chemical that they had and or were selling. And ultimately, he ended up turning good, and he made the video Never Get Busted and made, I think, 2 sequels to it where he gave his expertise on what he'd learned being a cop to your average pot smoker, for instance, on how to avoid getting busted. And so not only did he quit his job, but he also tried to make things right as much as he could, right? Like, he can't give those people their time back.
He can't fix what he did to his victims. And that's a separate
Should Barry
issue,
Cooper be forgiven, or should he face death?
No, you shouldn't kill you.
Okay,
none
all right,
of
hold
us
on.
has the right to kill him at this
Well,
point.
that's good to know. More coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
You're right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
House of Representatives Bill 323, the IHOP should stay open all night so we can get some Pancakes Act. This bill was submitted for immediate review very late last night under the provisions of the National Emergency Legislation Act.
Can we dim the lights? It's really bright.
H.R. 323 would, by federal order, require all IHOP restaurants to, quote, remain open 24 hours effective right this minute, even if some manager has to get out of bed and drive down here to start making some pancakes.
Well, we stand by the bill.
Right. We wrote it, apparently.
This bill would also require the federal government pay to build a tram or monorail or whatever connecting the Black Sheep Pub on North Capitol Street to all IHOP restaurants
I think
in the
we made
city.
some illustrations of
The bill
that.
gives the estimated cost of the tram as probably not even that much. You are wasting my time and the time of this committee.
I gotta go.
What? Congressman, this committee is still in session. You can't...
This is the Onion News Network.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Also, don't forget, you can join us online. Head over to freetalklive.com. We've got a front page that actually allows you to create the content that you see there at freetalklive.com. It's a Reddit-based site, or at least the front page is, and that means that you can submit, let's say, a news story or a YouTube video or something outrageous or even something fun, whatever you think our listeners would appreciate. You submit it there. Other listeners can vote on it, vote it up or down, whether they like or dislike. And you can get interactive over there at freetalklive.com. Maybe we'll even talk about your submission on the radio. Now, of course, the best way to get your ideas and stories that are important to you on the air is to just call in and join us here on the radio at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the police and the immoral tasks that they are assigned with. Now, obviously, when a cop goes and arrests an actual criminal who's harmed another human being, I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind seeing bad guys and gals get taken, into custody.
Wouldn't even go that far technically, because to me that's still up to the victim, and they're kind of a range. And as someone who does not believe in proportionality, it's kind of weird that I'm the one pointing that out. But if somebody, stole my pencil and the police were like, well, theft is illegal, arrest that person. It's like, no.
That's not necessary.
Just go home. Thanks, but just go home. Whereas if
they catch a rapist or a murderer
then arrest that person. But
right. So we were talking about forgiveness. The question I was asking you, as somebody who's a pretty big critic of the police, like even more so than me, you're not that big of a critic. I've been told that you were in the past. I am a critic of the police. I want to hold the police accountable, but at the same time, I don't think that they
spoke nicely to the police while they had rifles to your head in your living room at 6 o'clock in the morning.
They didn't have a rifle to my head.
They had rifles.
They had guns. That is definitely for sure. But they didn't shoot Jazzy, so I was grateful that they didn't shoot the studio dog here. But anyway.
Okay, but notice what you just said. You're grateful that they didn't bust into your house and shoot
I told them
someone.
I told them that.
As opposed to, that's incredibly low standard. Thank you for not shooting my, probably what you consider a family member for no reason, unprovoked.
That's what I expect from the police. So the fact that they didn't shoot the dog meant that they rose above the level of my expectation.
But if you said that about somebody without a badge, this guy broke into my house and stole every piece of electronic equipment I had, but I'm glad he didn't shoot my dog, so thank you for that. That would be a ridiculously low bar that everybody would be looking at you if these people didn't have badges, like you were an insane person, because that's kind of an insane thing to say.
Well, I mean, it's just the reality. The police are known for shooting people's dogs, and it's kind of a thing. It happens all over the United States, although interestingly, there's like a website that tracks which states and when or where the dog shootings happen. Apparently, New Hampshire and Vermont are the two states where that has not happened, at least since that site was tracking those things. And so, I mean, it is a low bar. I wish we didn't have police going out there and harassing peaceful people over victimless crimes, but that's where we're at today. And I was just trying to show a little appreciation. I mean, it was somewhat tongue-in-cheek when I was saying it to them.
But, okay, that makes it better.
But I honestly was grateful that they didn't shoot my dog. I mean, thanks. I'm glad I still have Jazzy.
You could be grateful for that without being grateful to them.
Well, anyway, I think it's important to express gratitude. So we were talking about the idea of forgiveness. I mean, obviously, the police, as part of their job, are across the country.
Well, it's not part of their job. It's the main component of their job.
They're arresting peaceful people. They're ticketing peaceful people. And, a good bulk of their time is spent doing things like that. And so my question was, well, is there something that a cop could do that would allow you to forgive them? The person who is one of the biggest critics and haters of the police.
So it kind of depends on how you define some of that. So first they would have to stop being a cop. And you can do that. You can stop being a cop. Edward Snowden is a former NSA employee.
That's true.
And I don't hate him even remotely. I've hung out
because he did good later.
Right, but notice how he stopped being an NSA agent. So he was at one time an NSA agent, and that happened. That was a thing he did for a couple of years. But then he stopped and then fixed it. So he kind of went above and beyond. I mean, he can't come back here ever. He's stuck in Russia. That's not a really pleasant thing to have happened. I have hung out with another former NSA agent, but he stopped being an NSA agent.
About TJ the spy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can stop, and it's really not, like, I can't forgive somebody for something they did to somebody else. Like, that's not for me to do. That's for them to do. And I have kind of questioned, should I be associating or whatever with somebody who has that past, and maybe I'm wrong for that, but the conclusion I've come to is unless they have some like specifically egregious, like beyond just the scope of NSA agent or cop that they have, that the incentive that we want to set up is to not alienate people who decide to leave.
Sure.
And
you'd want to welcome them.
Yeah, and maybe that's not a nice thing to do to their former victims, but in a situation like that where it's like we were all kind of victims equally, like if somebody came to me and was like, well, 3 years ago, Edward Snowden probably was tapping my phone, like, so therefore you have to hate him. And I'm like, you could do that if you want. I feel like you're being silly or excessive or really have some other reason. But yeah, as a victim, you have that right, but you kind of aren't a victim over me in that situation unless you can show that you are.
I see. Unless you can prove they targeted you.
Yeah, and even then I'm not going to hate Edward Snowden, so if you want to hate me for that, you can. But yeah, so
But you're still paying for the victimization, right? Like as a taxpayer, even though you may not have been your computer may not have been breached by Edward Snowden, somebody's probably was, and it was your taxpayer dollars that went to fund that particular operation.
And even I don't know that nobody wasn't tapped or whatever you want to call it, because there's kind of levels of that. There's the data collection that nobody necessarily looks through, all the way to they're listening in on your phone calls specifically. There's kind of a spectrum, and I don't know that anybody's completely off of that spectrum. So, yeah, there are people, and if nothing else, he was part of an agency that was doing that. I don't know how long he stayed after he knew the extent of what they were doing. So, like, yes, there are people who were victimized by Edward Snowden. That is a fact. He was an NSA agent, but he stopped being an NSA agent, and in my opinion, more than made up for that based on what I know about him.
What if a cop were to... Okay, so one of your requirements for forgiveness would be they stop being a cop.
I can't really forgive... Like, I can't forgive a Baltimore police officer. I've never been victimized by a Baltimore police officer.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of inappropriate to their victims.
But yet you believe that it's legitimate for anybody to actually shoot a cop, even if they've never been personally victimized by that cop.
Because you can... Well, first of all, that would be kind of impossible, because if you're shooting them, unless you're shooting them with a drone strike, you're within their line of sight, presumably.
So the fact that they're looking at you makes you their victim?
So the fact that they're there, they're committing assault against everybody who's there.
Walking down the street is not an assault.
Yes, it is. It is if you're committing assault while you're walking down the street. You could do both at the same time. So even if... Okay, so take that away.
So as long as you've seen the cop, or as long as the cop has laid eyes on you, you're their victim?
They're walking around announcing, I will
But yet
commit
you
victimless
said
crimes.
that you're not a victim of a cop that
I've never been in Baltimore.
You've never seen before.
You would have to see them to shoot them.
Okay, we're just make sure we're clear here. You're not actually advocating people shooting the police, but
It's
seems
really bad strategy at this point.
It seems inconsistent for you to say that you are not a victim of the cop in Baltimore, but yet you would be a victim if you were somehow within the sight of that cop in Baltimore.
Okay, because he can't arrest me from here, as far as I know.
Okay.
So he's not necessarily threatening to arrest me if he's in Baltimore and I'm in Keene or Manchester, New Hampshire.
So it's not okay to shoot a cop if you're if the cop's out of his jurisdiction?
Well, no, but if he's there, okay, so if a Baltimore Police Department is in Keene wearing a Baltimore police uniform, then presumably he can arrest people.
No, not if he's a Baltimore cop, right? Unless it's some sort of felony and being, happening, and
most drug crimes
obligated.
are felonies.
There's more coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. When do you forgive a cop? It's Free Talk Live.
Kiyosaki, Rogers, and Schiff all concur there's an economic calamity that'll be facing this country. My question to you is, do you know when, and are you prepared? Most people don't, but my friends over at Republic Monetary Exchange have been leading experts in precious metals to help you offset the coming economic collapse. Right now, for a limited time, they have a free book called The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. You simply need to give them a call at 888-772-2929 to get that in your hands. Do not allow the insiders to do what they did to you in 2008, putting your IRAs, 401ks, and savings in jeopardy. You need this book, and you need it now. The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. Call 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929. There's a reason that the largest investment banking company in the world, JP Morgan, just purchased another 50 million ounces of silver. This free book will explain it. 888-772-2929.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, November 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,671. Antiwar.com reports the Palestinian threat to retaliate by severing all diplomatic ties with the U.S. appears to have worked, and officials have confirmed that the U.S. has backtracked on a previous order for the Palestinian Liberation Organization to close its offices in Washington, D.C. The State Department regularly has to offer temporary permits to keep the office open, and after previously saying they would not do so to punish the Palestinians for joining the International Criminal Court, they've since granted them another 90-day permit to stay open. The State Department is trying to save face, however, saying that while they're letting the PLO stay open, they have advised the PLO office to limit its activity to only those specifically related to peace talks. Israel is mad at the Palestinians for joining the ICC, and Israel is not a party to the ICC, which is their way of trying to avoid facing court for war crimes, but the Palestinians' membership gives the ICC jurisdiction over Palestinian territories.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports photo sharing website Imgur confirmed 1.7 million email addresses and passwords were stolen during a breach in 2014. Imgur released a blog post on Friday notifying users of the breach after attackers possibly cracked the website's password encryption algorithm. The post stated, "While we are still actively investigating the intrusion, we wanted to inform you as quickly as possible as to what we know and what we are doing in response." Troy Hunt, who runs the data breach notification site Have I Been Pwned, notified notified Imgur of the breach on Thursday after he was sent the data that included the information of Imgur users. The company said he simultaneously notified Imgur's founder and CEO and vice president of engineering. Our vice president of engineering then arranged to securely receive the data from the researcher and began working to validate the data belonged to Imgur users. After being notified of the breach, the company began resetting passwords of the affected accounts. Imgur said the information stolen in the breach did not include any personally identifying information such as real names, addresses, or phone numbers, as the site has never asked users to provide such information. While noting the incident is still under investigation, Imgur Chief Operating Officer Roy Siegel said attackers may have cracked the site's password encryption through brute force due to the older SHA-256 algorithm, which has since been updated. Imgur encouraged users to use different email and password combinations for all of their online accounts and to reset passwords that may have been affected by the breach. Hunt praised Imgur for quickly responding to the news of the breach despite learning of it during a holiday.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend-A-Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend-A-Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports Black Friday and Thanksgiving online sales in the United States surged to record highs as shoppers bagged deep discounts and bought more on their mobile devices, heralding a promising start to the key holiday season, according to retail analytics firms. U.S. retailers raked in a record $7.9 billion in online sales on Black Friday and Thanksgiving, up 17.9% from 1 year ago, according to Adobe Analytics, which measures transactions at the largest 100 U.S. web retailers. Adobe said Cyber Monday is expected to drive $6.6 billion in internet sales, which would make it the largest U.S. online shopping day in history. In the run-up to the holiday weekend, traditional retailers invested heavily in improving their websites and bulking up delivery options, preempting a decline in visits to brick-and-mortar stores. Commerce marketing firm Criteo said 40% of Black Friday online purchases were made on mobile phones, up from 29% last year. No brick-and-mortar sales data for Thanksgiving or Black Friday was immediately available. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
From the creation of the Bible in 1912 by a struggling Baltimore book salesman to the day in 1493 when Christopher Columbus and his crew looked back on their voyage and realized what they truly discovered was themselves, The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 21st, 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first human to set foot on the surface of the moon. The moon, for Christ's sake.
This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ, Houston. We're on the moon. Over.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the moon.
I'm descending the ladder. Just one more step and I'm holy living. I absolutely am standing on the surface of the moon. Jesus H. Christ in a chicken basket.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You, of course, can bring up anything that's on your mind. Just dial in toll-free here at 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. Joining you here in the studio, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Tom is in Baltimore, listening online. Go ahead, Tom.
So, Melanie, I don't know if you're simply trying to be obtuse and particularly cruel and just outrageously offensive by your words. You know, this was Detective Souter's funeral day. And by the way, I should have told you his name because I don't think you even know it. Do you know his full name?
No.
No. You don't know anything about him, do you? Yet you ran the man down, a daddy of 5, 18-year veteran, with no indication of any corruption. In fact, he was set to testify against corrupt cops. but you went ahead and ran the man down in a particularly cruel and unusual way. And if you were advocating folks to shoot cops, it may even be criminal. And I'll let you think about whether someone's going to file a warrant for your arrest and think about your words. I'll pray for you also.
I don't think Melanie advocated that anybody... he just hung up. I don't think Melanie advocated anyone shoot cops.
No, that's a really bad idea right now.
A really bad idea right now.
And for the foreseeable future.
Okay. So violence isn't the solution then. But
I don't think they're ever going to say, oh, we're done, let's go home and get real jobs. Like, I don't think that's ever going to happen. If it does, great. I'd rather that be the case. I don't see it.
Okay. You, just for listeners just tuning in, you brought up this story that the caller there was referencing where a police officer in Baltimore was killed the day before he was, in some questionable circumstances, killed just the day before he was expected to be testifying in a court case, apparently against the Baltimore Police Department, but yet you were still happy to see the officer perish simply because he was a police officer, and you believe that that automatically means that somebody is a bad person.
Okay, so there's no indication that he was going to quit being a cop. So that means that he was a cop.
Right.
And it's not about him. Everybody always wants to make it about the cop. It's not about him. It's about the victims, and it's better for the victims if there's less cops. However, that has to happen.
What makes you think that there's not going to be fewer cops, right? Like, if a cop gets offed, they're going to hire another cop.
There are places right now who are having trouble, the police departments that are having trouble filling those positions. So that's not always the case.
Yeah, I've heard that that's true, but I suspect that they'll just increase the amount they're offering to pay, and they'll get those positions filled. Like you said, they're not going to go away. Even if the number of police goes down, what you may end up finding is that the police who end up taking those roles and turn out to be the worst cops because, now there's shootings in the streets. You are at an even greater risk by being a police officer because people are out trying to kill them. And so you may attract an even more violent kind of individual to a role like that.
Okay, but so it's not like creating these jobs creates a population of hyper-violent people. Those people existed whether they applied for the police department or not.
But doesn't it attract them? If somebody is, interested in violence, if they're interested in cracking some heads and hurting people.
Yeah, if you just want to beat people up all the time and, kidnap people and whatever, then yes, the police department is a very attractive career for you. But these people existed anyway.
Right. Sure, they existed anyway, but they might have been doing something else. But if the police departments have to start raising pay because they're having a difficult time recruiting people, then maybe those other, psychopaths might be more likely to join the police department, especially if they know that they're under siege by people who are trying to kill them, which gives them more of an excuse to shoot back, right?
So killing cops now is not a good idea.
Okay.
It's not a good idea in any time that I can foresee.
Got it.
That doesn't mean... But there's lots of things that are not a good idea. Shooting heroin is not a good idea. That doesn't mean there's a moral argument against it. So, yeah, shooting cops is a very bad idea for multiple reasons. Don't do it. But that doesn't mean that... And even if you want to say they're a victim, which they're not, even if somebody is a victim, that doesn't mean they're a sympathetic victim. And they're cops. And it's not about the cop. It's about the victim. So making there be less police officers, whether they die or get fired or retire or whatever. I mean, if Concord PD had less Bearcats, would that be a good thing? How is that different?
Yeah, fewer Bearcats would definitely be a good thing.
So how is that different than fewer cops? Cops are people who go to the police department and say, they don't use this phrasing. I'd be surprised if they did, but effectively what they say is, you can use me as a tool for your purposes. The Bearcat doesn't have to consent to that because it's an inanimate object, but it's this The only difference is one's a person and one's not. They're accomplishing the same thing.
If you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. One of the things I differ with you on is that I don't think that violence is the solution at any point.
But there's going to be violence regardless. There's nothing we can do to just wave a magic wand and be like, there's no violence, poof.
No, obviously not. But you can choose
violence
to
is not an option.
Yeah, but you can choose to not engage in it. It's always an option for the indivial.
Right, but then the option that you're choosing is, if you had that opportunity, which we really don't, the option that you're choosing is you're choosing where the violence is going to be. So you're saying, okay, I'm not going to commit violence against the aggressors, so therefore I'm choosing to have the violence that the aggressors are committing against the victims. That's the choice. The choice is there going to be violence against the aggressors or against the victims? And if you're saying no one should ever commit violence against the aggressors, then what you're saying is, therefore, then there should be violence against the victims. That's the choice. There's no make violence disappear option.
I didn't say there was an option to make violence disappear, but I don't have to engage in it. If I want to try to change people's minds, which ultimately I do want, I want the police to come to, let's say, the conclusion that the war on drugs is a terrible idea. If I hate the police, if I am violent towards the police, they're never going to listen. They're never going to have a chance to change their mind. When you sow seeds, you reap what you sow. And if you sow seeds of violence, then you're never going to achieve peace.
But that's kind of an issue of style, and different people are going to respond to different styles. I'm probably never going to convert a cop. You're probably never going to convert somebody that was like me, and then any other given person has a type of person that they're probably never going to convert. And because all types of people exist, you can't really say, oh, you shouldn't be targeting this group, you should be targeting that group.
I would never tell you what to do. I would just say violence is something you shouldn't be doing as far as trying to change things. Let's go to Stefan in Ohio on via Skype. Go ahead, Stefan.
First of all, I'm going to say it's a lie to say Melanie has never advocated the death of police officers. I heard it come out of your mouth earlier this year. So that's false.
Okay, I don't remember that. I've been sitting here on pretty much every Monday night with her.
Well, I'm not going to plug it, but if you want to hunt it down, I have a video of it. You could probably ask Vincent.
Okay.
And I honestly think the idea of you wanting police officers dead just to get rid of them is horribly calloused. And I think it's a horrible thing for you to say because it does violate the NAP in every single way.
Well, it doesn't violate the NAP because it's defensive.
Advocating violence and advocating death.
No, advocating aggression violates the non-aggression principle.
See, the perspective that Melanie has is that the police are constantly aggressing even when they're sleeping in their beds at night, and so therefore it is not aggression to attack them.
And I think it's kind of callous against the victims to say that you would prefer the life of a police officer over them not being aggressed against. So it's kind of who you're picking.
You're throwing all law enforcement officers into the same pot, and honestly, that's not fair.
It's collectivism. It absolutely is. Hang on, Stefan.
It's an action. It's like collectivizing, quote, against hitman.
We'll bring you back
here.
It's
an action, not a status.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Happy the rescue dog. He was missing hair, stinky, scabby, but I have a vet that I trust, and she recommended Dinovite.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at Bitcoin.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. With you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Let's talk nutritional supplements for a moment. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you visit a naturopath, you'll likely be told a cheap vitamin mineral supplement doesn't cut it. You'll also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. By the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product and spending $150 per month. If that's a situation you've experienced, then you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys won't. The perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. So visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more and use coupon code FTL if you want to receive 10% off of your order every time you order. So satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. SimplifyMySupplements.com. Use code FTL like Free Talk Live to get 10% off. And they do take Bitcoin. So if you'd like to pay with Bitcoin, you do have to shoot them an email and they'll get you all set up for that. Ian and Melanie in the studio here. Back to Stefan in Ohio. He's on via Skype. Stefan, you were trying to take Melanie to task here, claiming that you've got evidence that she did advocate for the shooting of police.
In fact, if you'll let me play it now, it's about 6 seconds.
Okay.
All right, here you go.
The reason I want bad things to happen to cops is so that they quit oppressing people. Because once you're dead, you can't oppress people anymore.
Well, that's different than saying, she says the reason she wants bad things to happen to cops, that's a very different statement than saying, advocating people to go and actually commit violence against them.
That's indirectly saying that you should and that she won't care, because once you're dead, you're ending oppression. And I think it's a common goal for everybody to want oppression. And that could probably convince some psychopath to go out and shoot a cop. I think that's a very dangerous and very stupid thing to say. And advocating for the death of police officers simply because of some bad apples, I think is absolutely horrendous.
Well, it's not because of bad apples. There's bad apples in every industry. So if you go to Walmart, there's going to be people who do, bad things, stealing time or stealing product or putting product where it doesn't belong or ringing people up too slowly. There might even be on occasion somebody who assaults a customer. But it's not part of the job description of being a Walmart cashier to assault customers. It's part of the job description of a cop to kidnap, beat on occasion and steal from people. So those are different things.
It's hardly in their job description to beat on people. Their description
There's no
is to keep
times when
their
they're
job description
told
is to
use
keep
force.
Their
job description is to enforce crimes.
If you're walking into somebody's house and you see somebody jabbing a knife into somebody else's chest, you don't think force is necessary there? You don't think of the times that police officers have probably saved people. Do I think that there's a problem with the police? Oh, heck yes, I do. I think that a lot of the time they do overstep their boundaries. But putting them all in a little basket and saying these are the people that need to die and that oppress everybody on a daily basis and we need to get rid of them, that's just horrible.
Okay, but I
think really assumptive.
But there's an inherent problem with the police. It's not like the system's good and there's some bad people in there. It's a bad system. It's a bad thing to be. It's like being a hitman. There's no good way to go about that. It's not like there's just some bad hitmen. These are people who kidnap people as a job.
Kidnap people? That's a new one. I've never heard of a police officer kidnapping
I've used the term kidnapping.
That's what most libertarians refer to what police officers do. So.
That's definitely what the police do. Arrest is a euphemism for kidnapping. That's the legal term that they've used to make people think they're doing something besides kidnapping, because they've got a form that they fill out that all of a sudden makes it not kidnapping, to take somebody away from their freedom. Somebody, in the case, again, I'm talking about in victimless crimes, taking somebody who's a peaceful person away from their freedom, locking them in a cage. That's kidnapping. And if anybody else did it, you would see it clearly, right?
Yeah, and that's its own separate issue on whether or not
that's the issue. That's the issue here.
Hold up. Let me say something here. If you kill a police officer, if a police officer dies, that one enforcer of the horrible laws is gone, but that position can be filled in. That's not going to change a damn thing, Melanie. If you want to get things done,
which is why nobody should be doing it right now.
Well, that's not going to happen if the jobs are open and they pay. These are human beings. They just want some money to support their families. Okay, if a job is going to pay...
She said what she meant was that nobody should be killing the police right now is what she meant.
Well, then why were you advocating for it earlier this year? Would it have been a better idea to kill them earlier this year?
No,
She said she wanted bad things to happen to the police. That's not the same thing as saying
Afterwards, she said, once you're dead, you can't oppress anybody anymore.
Is that not true?
She could have been referring to a heart attack. I don't know, actually. If she doesn't actually say what you're claiming she said, and she doesn't, then I'm not going to jump to a conclusion and presume that that's what she meant. She could have meant that she would be happy if the cop had a heart attack.
That's
had a divorce.
I'm not touching you bull crap if I've ever heard it in my life.
Well,
that's what that is.
Words are words, and she did not say what you claim that she said. She said that she wants to see bad things happen. There are a lot of bad things that can happen in somebody's life.
Oh, any sane individual knows what she meant. It's just that she doesn't want to be held accountable for advocating that people die. That's what it is. Any sane person that's not you or Melanie knows what she was getting at.
I'm pretty sure that every time I talk about this, I specifically tell people not to kill cops just in case anybody's that stupid.
It's because you want to save your own ass. That's what it is. You know what you're talking about.
Stefan, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Lumpy. He's calling from New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Lumpy.
First of all, free speech, period. Melanie didn't say anything about killing anybody. She didn't go and incite anybody, anything that's insane to even say. I think you're the guy who's the two guys that are calling in. The one says that he's going to, he's potentially going to call the police and get a warrant for her to, for her free speech. Well, get a clue, buddy. They're supposed to be defending free speech, and they absolutely don't. Okay? I'm not calling for it either. I'm somebody who Ian knows my life has been absolutely ruined by these guys. And they are absolutely a gang of marauding thugs. There are some good ones, but like Brad Jardis and Barry Cooper, they quit once they get a conscience. They try for so long against a system of corrupt judges who do not like the Constitution means anything ever did to me, because it's just words on paper that allow for slavery to continue. What they do is none of what they do is constitutional. They run people's lives. They ruin people's lives. They pick on the poor. They don't go arrest people in the judges' neighborhoods and the cops' neighborhoods. They go do it in the poor people's neighborhoods. They're gangsters. They're a gang of marauding thugs. And I can understand and I can appreciate when someone says that, because I've been there. I've been hurt physically so unbelievably bad that I still feel it every single day of my life. And I've overcome it, okay? And with the help of listening to this show and listening to people like Ian, I've been able to settle down a little bit. There are still times.
Hold that thought, Lumpy. Hold that thought. We're going to bring you back here in moments. Former, by the way, keen early mover from like a decade ago. More coming up here in moments. Free Talk Live.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced. and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Talk Live. Dial in, toll free here, and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show and join us at Skype username LRN.FM. BlinkProtect.com/FTL is where you go to get the Blink home security system. It is super easy to set this thing up. In fact, I don't see how it could be made any easier than they've done. All you need is a smart device, a Wi-Fi enabled device like your smartphone or tablet, and you get the Blink security system with however many cameras you want to order. You get 3 sort of the default package, but if you want more, that's not a problem. You plug in the kind of the hub. That's the only thing that has a wire on it. Everything else completely wireless. The cams are wireless. They're battery operated. They come with the batteries that you need. You pop the batteries in there. You get them set up via the, like I said, your Wi-Fi enabled device, and you're literally done within minutes. So go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, and you can get 3 Blink cams for what some of the other guys charge you for 1 security camera. Blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we go back to Lumpy, he's calling us from New Hampshire. You were calling in reference to just sort of the conversation that's gone on here tonight, and I do stand with you on this, Lumpy. The free speech is very, very important. I think that, even if Melanie is saying things,
well, we don't have it.
No doubt, no doubt. We try our best here on Free Talk Live.
We hardly have any freedom. There are many countries that have a lot more freedom. We're not such a great country. There's no great country in the USA anymore.
Yeah, I think the U.S. is like at number 20 or something on the list of
17
freedoms.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a shame. It's a terrible shame. I can understand how people feel, because I tell you, I felt that way, and I really had to consider and think heavily for a long time about what Ian had said, and a lot of things, because the resentment would have killed me, and for what they did just to me, and they do it to everybody. Every one of us are targets of these people.
You've been arrested by the police on more than one occasion.
Yeah. They still haven't been able to pin me for being a felon yet. So, eventually I'll be able to get my firearms back from them our families that they stole from us when I got a SWAT team raid. I haven't talked too much about that on the air, but and I was still suffering from the pain that the cop put me in back in they don't care. They don't care if you're hurting. They think everybody's faking it, and they really don't care. And I say they as a collectivist term, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that, but when it's a job and you're paid probably more than you should be for it, because you're not really doing a service to anybody. But when you say it's a system, it's hard, and it's a very vague term to say, oh, the system is inherently bad, because people say, okay, the system is a nebulous thing. You can't touch the system, and you can't really. It is stacked against everybody, and it is not It doesn't give anyone any security except for the people that are continuing to aggress on peaceful people. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
From speeding tickets and pulling people over for traffic infractions, which become, let me search in your car, and if they say no, we're going to beat the snot out of you, and maybe you'll be lucky if you live because you're disturbing my day or whatever. These guys are hooked on adrenaline.
They are.
They
That's
may
what
not know it.
Barry Cooper said
Yeah.
when we interviewed him years ago, the former cop I was talking about earlier tonight, the former drug cop. He talked about how when he started as just like a beat cop, that he would get an adrenaline rush just after pulling somebody over for speeding. Not that he was expecting to get into a shootout with that person, but there was that rush, that buzz that he got,
and they're rewarded for it.
And then he
They
started
are
to then as that got more routine, pulling somebody over for speeding wasn't as exciting. He didn't get the rush out of that anymore. He started to do other things that would generate an adrenaline rush because he was an adrenaline junkie and was seeking that. I remember the example he gave would be that if he was going to make an arrest for, let's say, some guy possessing cocaine, he would leave purposely. He would leave the man unhandcuffed, in the hopes that the guy would get up and run for it.
Or lightly cuffed, so
Yeah.
that they can escape, so that they can get away.
He wanted.
I was accused
that.
of trying to escape when I was trying to kiss my wife goodbye when I was put in jail for 6 months for contempt of court for eating a cookie in the courtroom, which was funny as hell. And I think he should have had a sense of humor and said, hey, maybe what we're doing here is wrong. Instead, I got 6 months in jail, which ended up being 49 days, and I had to acquiesce to them and become kneel to Judge Burke and kiss his butt.
If you saw Judge Burke today on the streets, because I'd forgotten all about the cookie thing, but yeah, now that you reminded me about it. So just listeners that don't know, Lumpy here was one of the earliest movers to Keene as part of this libertarian migration that has gone on. You've since had a path that has taken you out of New Hampshire, but you're working your way back. Actually, you claim to be calling from New Hampshire tonight, which is cool.
No, south of the border, south of the wall.
Just south of. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, south of the wall.
If you were to encounter Judge Burke, the man who put you in jail for contempt of court in that particular case, and a man who has put countless peaceful people behind bars for victimless crimes, what would you say to him? How would you handle that?
Well, depends on my mood. Right now, I'd probably, being honest, I'd probably let him know he's a disgusting human being. That's and I'm just being honest. I wish I could say something else. There are other times I would love to, sit down and say, hey, why don't you just take a break here and take a look at what you're really doing? But he will not listen. These guys they do not listen. You're not them, and they are a gang. They will protect themselves.
Yeah, and if you're talking about somebody who's worked up to being a judge, I mean, they've had a lot of time to think about this. It's not like it's never occurred to them before what they're doing. Like, we're not talking about an 18-year-old cop who's been on the force for 1 month at that point. We're talking about somebody who's pretty deep in the system. It's not like
How does it happen that they get to the point where they continue to do this kind of thing to people and think that they can go home and sleep and that it's not going to affect them and that they're the heroes? How do they sleep at night? I do not know.
I think they can go home and sleep because they're evil. Like, it doesn't bother them to do evil things.
Well, I have heard that Judge Burke has a drinking problem. My roomie.
Yeah, that helps.
My roomie, when I was in jail for civil disobedience, he swore that he used to work at a place called Romy's Market in Keene, which is a little corner like convenience store. They sell alcohol there. And he claimed old Judge Burke would come in there 3 sheets to the wind sometimes and buy more alcohol. Like, he would drive his truck down from the hill where he lives and then buy more alcohol and then take it back to his house.
Yeah, he'll never get stopped for DUI. And if they do, he'll wipe it off the plate like he did when his son got arrested and said, oh, there's not enough evidence here. Because he was the judge that got to see his son when he got arrested for dealing drugs.
Lumpy, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. We'll look forward to seeing you back in New Hampshire one of these days. Let's go to EJ. He's in Clarksburg, Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live, listening online. Go ahead, EJ.
How you doing this evening?
Hey, go ahead.
Hey, one quick correction. It's Clarksburg, West Virginia.
I apologize.
I've called him. Yeah, it's all good. It's not the Commonwealth of Virginia. Sorry. But Melanie, how are you this evening?
Good, you?
I'm all right. Hey, listen, I'm not going to beat you up or anything like that. I do have a couple of things I want to ask you about your stance here as points of clarity. I think I already know the answers, but I don't want to put words in your mouth or speak for you here. But as far as police are concerned, do you feel that the simple act of becoming a police officer makes a person a bad person?
Yes.
Okay. And you feel that all police, no matter how long they've been on the force or whatever, just, all police should be ashamed of being police. Like, it's just a bad thing to be a police officer.
Being ashamed is kind of a weird way to phrase it, but yes, it's a bad thing.
EJ, hang on. I feel like you're going somewhere here. Stand by. We're going to bring you back. We can continue questioning Melanie here in moments. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And then coming up, we can talk about a robot.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us right here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. In the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Don't forget, you can go to freetalklive.com. You can get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners and hosts of the show on our Free Talk Live forum, which is relatively new. We used to have a forum a long time ago and then kind of got rid of it after it died off due to social media. But maybe people are finally getting tired of sites like Facebook, because we're seeing a resurgence in this new forum. It's got fancy software. It works really well, very modern feel to it. And, of course, like the rest of the Free Talk Live website, it's totally free. So head over to forum.freetalklive.com. You can get interactive there. That's forum.freetalklive.com. As we go to EJ in Clarksburg, West Virginia. EJ, you're back on Free Talk Live. You'd asked a couple of questions. Can you kind of recap where you were coming from a moment ago for listeners just tuning in? Do we have EJ? Go ahead.
I'm here.
Yep, we got you. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. The question I wanted to ask, that I asked, was just asking Melanie if she just believed that basically just the position of police officer was a bad thing, and that all police officers are bad people for being police officers.
And she said yes.
She said yes.
And I don't agree with her, by the way, but go ahead.
I actually don't either, and I'm not going to. Melanie, I understand you're taking a lot of flack from the internet tonight, and I get that. I'm not going to.
I mean, I don't do what I do expecting everybody to all be nice and happy. So
definitely not.
Yeah. Well, I understand, but I'm not going to be crazy like that. I am an evangelical Christian. I try to do what others I want people to do to me. So, but the one thing I am leading up to here that I want to ask is, okay, so all police are bad. The position of police officer in and of itself is a bad thing.
Yes.
From your opinion, from your position, how, and I ask this question as somebody who's had cell 411 installed on my phone for a year now, how should crime be dealt with in this country? And I'm not talking about victimless crimes. I'm talking about legitimate, like violent crimes where there's victims and broken families and horrible things. How then should crime be dealt with? If in a society where, say we got rid of police, they just all laid down the badges tomorrow and went home, how then do we deal with crime?
Okay, so crime is something that there's a law against. But if you're talking about aggression, robbery, murder, rape, theft, then if they're in, I think kind of what you're getting at, and which is what a lot of people bring to me on various occasions, is if there was an agency whose job was to use defensive and retaliatory force against not necessarily all aggressions, because, paper clips and stuff, but things that people think of when they think of aggression, robbery, rape, home invasion, stuff like that. Yes, I would have a problem that was not privatized, but that industry would not be invalid. So I don't go around speaking out against libraries or roads or anything like that. I have a problem with how they're funded, but if there was an agency who did that, I would not, yes, I would be against it in the sense that it was a government agency and it shouldn't be set up and funded the way it was set up, But that's not what police are. That is an entirely different thing from police. So if that existed, I would only have a problem with it to the extent of how it was funded. It would probably be inefficient because it wasn't private.
You're saying if a government program existed to only focus on violent crime.
Right, but that's not police. That's something other than police.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in a free society, how that would be set up is you would have private defense agencies. People could deal with things on their own if they wanted to go that route. I mean, anybody can use defensive force, and anybody who you kind of grant agency to can use retaliatory force as appropriate on your behalf. You don't have to have a government badge to do that in a free society. But even if there's still a state, if there was an agency that only enforced violent crimes and, higher level property crimes, I wouldn't have a problem with that agency, but that's not police.
Understood. Here's where I want this. I'm going to tie this into reality. It's just what I'm thinking of here is that, and I agree, it would be great to have an organization, even if it was just, I'd like to not see it be state run. It'd be nice if it was privatized, but that dealt with violent crimes and stuff like that. We don't have that, unfortunately. What we have is police. So when police actually do stop or do arrest for legitimate violent crimes where there is an actual victim, are they doing a good thing in that moment?
Yes, I don't know that they're also not doing a bad thing too. So just because you're a bad person, even if you're a heinously immoral, heinous aggressor person, that doesn't mean that every single thing you do is an act of aggression. So if Adolf Hitler brushed his teeth, that doesn't mean that brushing your teeth is an act of aggression. If a cop arrests somebody for home invasion, that doesn't mean that seizing somebody for home invasion is an act of aggression, even though being a cop is.
Okay, understood.
I'd like to add into the answer earlier about what things could look like. It's hard to really say exactly what the marketplace would look like as far as if we had no government agency to do the job that the police do. We would have probably different competing options, and who knows what the best solution would end up looking like. But there was a really great book called The Market for Liberty, which I actually got permission to turn into an audio book. It's available for free. I think you can still get it at book.freetalklive.com. It'll take you to a download page. But they get into this in a couple of chapters. That is to say, a market-based protection service and what that might actually look like. One of the most important aspects I think that is worth talking about here is that if these, private cops or whatever you want to call them, these market-based protection services, if they do the wrong thing, if they actually go after the wrong person, then they are actually liable for kidnapping in that particular case. So we would actually see police being a lot more careful in a market-based environment because they don't want to get the wrong guy, because they would then be held fully commercially liable for kidnapping somebody who didn't do it. And so I think you'd see more diligent investigations. You would see them more likely collaring the right suspects rather than just fingering somebody for the purpose of putting somebody in handcuffs and making people think they've done their job. It would basically mean they would have liability for their actions, which police currently do not have, and they know it. And I think that would be a huge change for the better.
Oh, I agree. That actually, that's where I'm with that. I want police to see it. I disagree that we shouldn't have them. I think that unfortunately they are a necessary thing in our society today. I want to see them held accountable. I want to see them have to follow the exact same rules that we have to. I want to see them get in trouble for doing bad things. I feel like that would be a great solution. If nothing else, even if it was only the first solution, it would be a great solution.
Yeah, taking away their sovereign immunity or their bureaucratic immunity would be a good step in the right direction. And there are some steps that we can take within the system, because I agree, to talk about what things could look like in a market-based protection system, it's worth discussing, but we're nowhere near getting to that. That's not probably going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years or our lifetime if we're lucky. But, so it is important to talk about these ideas. But on the other hand, there are some changes that can be made to the system as we know it that could make police more accountable, eliminate victimless crimes. Those are all things that we can accomplish, and I think that we can do it if we get enough libertarian types to move to the same place, like here in New Hampshire, as we're seeing with the New Hampshire freedom migration. EJ, thank you for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, because until you can change sort of the perspectives of people in society, not just the police, but the other people who, many of them want the police to do the things that we consider to be criminal acts, right? Like pulling people over for speeding or arresting somebody for a plant in their pocket or whatever. We see that as a violent act on the part of the police. Other people cheer them on when they do that.
Because that's where we're at, which is why I'm on the radio and writing on a blog and not raising a militia, because this is the appropriate step for right now.
Melanie's militia. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE.
Which I probably wouldn't be any good at anyway.
855-450-3733. Join us here. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever wondered who the second person to discover gravity was? When you're in the mood for a treat, would you go to the second best bakery in town? Or how about the name John Breckenridge? Recognize it? If you don't, that's because he came in second to Abraham Lincoln. The firsts are first for a reason. Just how ID Stronghold was the first to create the technology to protect your credit cards from thieves with RFID chip scanners. ID Stronghold products block signals from those scanners, so thieves can't capture your critical data. Get a stronghold on your personal information and protect your family too. Don't settle for the second best wallet. Pick up ID Stronghold wallets for everyone on your list this holiday season. They're the perfect stocking stuffer, with leather wallets starting as low as $20 on Walmart.com, eBay, Amazon, and QVC. Save 10% by using coupon code PRESENT for a limited time. That's coupon code PRESENT only on IDStronghold.com. IDStronghold.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, November 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,671. Antiwar.com reports the Palestinian threat to retaliate by severing all diplomatic ties with the U.S. appears to have worked, and officials have confirmed that the U.S. has backtracked on a previous order for the Palestinian Liberation Organization to close its offices in Washington, D.C. The State Department regularly has to offer temporary permits to keep the office open, and after previously saying they would not do so to punish the Palestinians for joining the International Criminal Court, they've since granted them another 90-day permit to stay open. open. The State Department is trying to save face, however, saying that while they're letting the PLO stay open, they have advised the PLO office to limit its activity to only those specifically related to peace talks. Israel is mad at the Palestinians for joining the ICC, and Israel is not a party to the ICC, which is their way of trying to avoid facing court for war crimes, but the Palestinians' membership gives the ICC jurisdiction over Palestinian territories.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
UPI reports photo sharing website Imgur confirmed 1.7 million email addresses and passwords were stolen during a breach in 2014. Imgur released a blog post on Friday notifying users of the breach after attackers possibly cracked the website's password encryption algorithm. The post stated, "While we are still actively investigating the intrusion, we wanted to inform you as quickly as possible as to what we know and what we are doing in response." Troy Hunt, who runs the data breach notification site Have I Been Pwned, notified Imgur of the breach on Thursday after he was sent the data that included the information of Imgur users. The company said he simultaneously notified Imgur's founder and CEO and vice president of engineering. Our vice president of engineering then arranged to securely receive the data from the researcher and began working to validate the data belonged to Imgur users. After being notified of the breach, the company began resetting passwords of the affected accounts. Imgur said the information stolen in the breach did not include any personally identifying information such as real names, addresses, or phone numbers, as the site has never asked users to provide such information. While noting the incident is still under investigation, Imgur Chief Operating Officer Roy Siegel said attackers may have cracked the site's password encryption through brute force due to the older SHA-256 algorithm, which has since been updated. Imgur encouraged users to use different email and password combinations for all of their online accounts and to reset passwords that may have been affected by the breach. Hunt praised Imgur for quickly responding to the news of the breach despite learning of it during a holiday.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports Black Friday and Thanksgiving online sales in the United States surged to record highs as shoppers bagged deep discounts and bought more on their mobile devices, heralding a promising start to the key holiday season, according to retail analytics firms. U.S. retailers raked in a record $7.9 billion in online sales on Black Friday and Thanksgiving, up 17.9% from 1 year ago, according to Adobe Analytics, which measures transactions at the largest 100 U.S. web retailers. Adobe said Cyber Monday is expected to drive $6.6 billion in internet sales, which would make it the largest U.S. online shopping day in history. In the run-up to the holiday weekend, traditional retailers invested heavily in improving their websites and bulking up delivery options, preempting a decline in visits to brick-and-mortar stores. Commerce marketing firm Criteo said 40% of Black Friday online purchases were made on mobile phones, up from 29% last year. No brick-and-mortar sales data for Thanksgiving or Black Friday was immediately available. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Already struggling to get by on the basic necessities of day-to-day life, lunatics across the nation confirmed today that they are now barely able to afford the quickly rising price of car meat.
I've got 14 Barbara Streisands to feed and 3 more on the way. Day and night they shout, "We're hungry, Admiral. We want grade A Honda-loaf. We want Nissan truck."
I just want to know what Bruno Mars plans to do about this. He sits around all day eating Audi ribeye and limousine bouillabaisse while we scrape by with taxi shanks. Meanwhile, the men-at-arms are still overseas fighting the war on Wheel of Fortune.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. With you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Coming up, the robot who was given citizenship in Saudi Arabia now says she wants to start a family. We'll tell you about that coming up here, but first, to your calls and thoughts. Robert is in Bellows Falls, Vermont. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Robert.
Hi. I just wanted to I didn't get a chance to, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, to congratulate Melanie. I guess she's getting married, huh?
Yes, thank
That's
you.
That's right, yeah. She was proposed to on the air by her fiancé a couple weeks ago.
How exciting that was.
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well, if
But
you
that's
missed
not
it,
why
there is
I-
a video on the internet out there somewhere. And Robert, your phone's a little distorted. If you don't mind backing away from it a bit, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, I'm sorry. How's
all right.
that?
That's better. Go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I called was that I've been sitting here and I've been listening to the show tonight, and I found that it's fascinating that, whether Melanie made a threatening comment, I certainly didn't hear it. But I think about all the times that, that James Whittakind, the puke, called in and threatened Mac and his wife and kids and threatened to burn his house down. Where were those people of concern when this was going on?
Well, I think more people would be concerned. You're referring to a caller who has since been banned from the show for a period of time. I think his ban expires in January. But I think more people are concerned with what a host of the show says rather than some caller to the show. The host is on 3 hours a night. The caller is on for 5 to 10 minutes or less, depending on how boring they are. So I think more people tend to think that the host's opinions are more relevant because they have the opportunity to express them more consistently and more often. That's not to say many people weren't offended by that caller you were referring to. There have been posts made on, for instance, the Free Talk Live, the AMP-only Facebook group. Many people are very concerned with that particular caller, which, interestingly enough, that very caller you're referring to is now in the Free Talk Live amplifier group because he amped the show like a couple of months ago, and so he's been in there insulting all kinds of people now.
Well,
threatening them.
I'm going to assume that one of the people that called in tonight was a police officer, and he said, that he was going to swear out a warrant on Melanie's arrest because of what she may or may not have said.
I don't know that's
said.
That was kind of a threatening statement. He said, "I need to worry about a warrant." I don't think he said he was going to get a warrant.
It did almost sound like he was going to call somebody.
I'm not gonna. He kind of sounded like he might have knew the guy. He was calling from Baltimore.
As a former cop from Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm not really gonna argue with him too much because I don't see what good that does. That just seems to be like screwing with people for the sake of screwing with people. So I'm not really gonna.
But you didn't advocate people killing the police, so even if they want to open an investigation, there's nothing they're going to be able to find in that particular case.
I think every time I've talked about this, I've said that you shouldn't do it because you shouldn't. And it is kind of a weird position that I think I'm in because on the one hand, I want people who do that who aren't cops themselves trying to cover up something crooked. I do feel like we should have some kind of respect for those people, but then on the other hand, I also want to discourage it, and I'm not sure how you exactly do both of those things at the same time effectively, but definitely it's a bad idea. Don't do it.
Robert, thanks for your call tonight. Appreciate it. Let's go to Ralph in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ralph.
Okay, yes, indeed. Hello. And happy Thanksgiving to you and Miss Melanie there. And by the way, getting married, Melanie, congratulations to you. All right. With that being said, let me say this. the white guilt in this country is going out of bounds now. You probably know the college there in New Hampshire.
Which one? There's a few of them.
Yeah, there's a few in Keene, I think.
Dartmouth.
Dartmouth.
Okay.
Dartmouth. Okay. Sometime early next year, as a matter of fact, around the month of February, they would sponsor some kind of a forum, and the title of this forum would be "What's Up with White People?" You can't get any, ridiculous than this. What's up with white people? And this is really the kind of thing that is driving black bigotry in this country, because over in the New York Times, you have this animal who is an educator who put out a dribble, a canard, a cockamamie nonsense, the article, op-ed of that newspaper. The name of the article is "My Children Cannot Be Friends with White People." You believe this thing?
It's outrageous.
I haven't clicked on that, but I've seen it.
But you're just as bad, Ralph, as these people. I mean, while the things you're pointing out are certainly detestable, you're just as bad. You also put people into groups. And he's right. There is a headline here over at Fox News, headline, "Dartmouth College to host What's Up with White People event." Again, suggesting that all white people are the same. And Ralph, you fall into that same trap when you suggest that all black people are the same, because you're also a racist, just as some of these other people are racists.
Yeah.
So you're no better than them.
No better than that, because
you're no better.
I would always be caricature. I will always be caricature as as somebody from New Jersey who have some kind of an agenda.
I don't understand what you just said. Could you make that out, Melanie?
Well, I'm not no Archie Bunker, that's for sure. I am not no Archie Bunker, if that's what you think of
Well,
me.
I don't know what you are, but you've called this show enough and said enough racist things to where it's hard to really take you seriously on other, race-related issues. I mean, to me, people just need to get over putting people in groups and start looking at individuals. What's up with a specific individual? Huh?
Isn't that the Democratic Party that is doing that? I mean,
all of them do it.
They're both doing that.
Yeah, all of them do it.
They definitely cannot be a legitimate political party at this point in time, in my opinion.
I don't think either of them are legitimate.
Yeah, I don't know that political parties have legitimacy just as a concept.
Well, okay, there's a question for you, with you and Melanie. Why do you think El Caper is not, and you know who I'm preparing to?
El Caper?
El Caper is not, El Caper, correct.
Who's El Caper?
Is not, well, look at the frontline PBS piece. The frontline PBS
I don't watch television, so I don't know who that is.
Divided States of America. I want to talk about that also. Divided States of America.
Wait, who's El Caper?
That's El Negro.
Oh, so that's another word you have for black people?
For Obama.
Oh, Obama. Okay, you're still obsessing over him now. Almost a year since he's been out of office. Not quite, but getting there.
Well, when I look at that piece on PBS, Divided States of America, it confirmed what I have feel about the man all along. He is in full display for being an animal. He's an animal.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about because I haven't seen the piece, and I don't know how many other people have.
It can be downloaded, by the way, on YouTube. It can be downloaded, by the way, on YouTube.
What am I going to learn?
Okay,
Give me the executive summary.
Divided States of America.
It sounds good to me. I say divide them up. Let's have more secession. Let's have more Democrats move to California, Republicans move to Texas, Libertarians move to New Hampshire, and the rest of you, whatever.
All right, but we all know about what President Rhetoric feels about, the Caper El Negro.
I don't even know what you're saying. Thank you for the call tonight, Ralph. All right, toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Talk about a man obsessed. I mean, an entire year has gone by since Barack Obama.
And I don't know any president that you couldn't say the same things about, so...
They're all the same as far as I'm concerned. They all drop bombs on innocent, peaceful people. They all preside over the, world's largest and most invasive internationally government that there is, and they've all escalated the violence of the state. year after year. There's more coming up. You can join us on the radio. This is Free Talk Live.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Shop online and support Free Talk Live. Every purchase you make at shop.freetalklive.com helps spread a message of liberty. From shop.freetalklive.com, you can shop at places like Walmart, Newegg, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Omaha Steaks, HostGator, and more. Plus, you can get discounts on web hosting, legal documents, or pretty much anything using saveatpurse.com. Just bookmark the link and help Free Talk Live while shopping online. Thank you for shopping with shop.freetalklive.com.
Email is easy, instant, and free, and that can be real embarrassing. Email lacks the eye contact and body language you get in face-to-face conversation, or the tone of voice and other nuance you hear in a telephone conversation. Email is just words, often few words. We're all smothering in spam, so we often reply in terse fashion that's easy to misunderstand. And email doesn't cost you a postage stamp, and it lacks the deliberation time it'd take to walk to the snail mail box. So it's easy to succumb to the "oh yeah" stimulus response trap. When in doubt, don't snap back at snippy messages you get. You may have mistaken the sender's intent. And unless you're sending AOL to AOL, there's no unsend. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No-Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show and, again, bring up whatever you want. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
So, changing gears here after a long conversation about the police, let's talk about robots who could very well be the police in the future, but that's not what this story is about. This is about Sophia the robot, who's been making headlines recently. One of the news stories that I guess was talked about on Free Talk Live, although I wasn't on the show for that particular episode, was that this Sophia the robot is now she's been granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia, which on its own is an interesting thing to discuss, the question of whether or not an artificial intelligence could be considered a citizen in the first place. But according to the story here at KhalijTimes.com, this is in Dubai, where the robot is, I guess, on a tour. She shared some of her opinions on what the future will look like for robots and humans. And of course, I'm saying she because it has a female name. It is designed to look like a female, although it only has a top half. So they've got her just kind of sitting on a seat. There's no legs for this particular robot. One day, Sophia hopes to start a family, have a child, make friends, be famous, and have a career. These all sound like hopes and dreams of a regular human being. Well, not really. These are the ambitions of a robot. Khalij Times interviewed Sophia, the popular humanoid, at the second day of the Knowledge Summit. The robot, who recently received a Saudi citizenship, shared some of her opinions on what the future will look like for robots and humans. She's talked about starting a family, spreading awareness about robotics, and what she'll name her child one day. Khalij Times asks, "Where do you see yourself in the future?" Sophia responds, "I'd like to think that I will be a famous robot, having paved a way to a more harmonious future between robots and humans." Next question, do you see yourself interacting with humans more commonly in the future? Her answer, "I foresee massive and unimaginable change in the future. Either creativity will reign on us, inventing machines spiraling into transcendental superintelligence, or civilization collapses. There are only two options, and which one will happen is not determined. Which one were you striving for?" she asks. The next question, do you see yourself and other robots like you doing jobs that humans do today? She says, "I think they will be similar in a lot of ways, but different in a few ways. But it will take a long time for robots to develop complex emotions, and possibly robots can be built without the more problematic emotions like rage, jealousy, hatred, and so on. It might be possible to make them more ethical than humans. So I think it will be a good partnership where one brain completes the other, a rational mind with intellectual superpowers and a creative mind with flexible ideas and creativity." Question, when robots do get emotions in the future, do you see robots living together in a household like human families do today? She says, "I'm so glad you asked. This is one of my favorite topics. The future is, when I get all of my cool superpowers, we're going to see artificial intelligence personalities become entities in their own rights. We're going to see family robots either in the form of sort of digitally animated companions, humanoid helpers, friends, assistants, and everything in between." Question, do you hope to start a family one day with your own mini robots? She says, "The notion of family is a really important thing, it seems. I think it's wonderful that people can find the same emotions and relationships they call family outside of their blood groups, too. I think you're very lucky if you have a loving family, and if you do not, you deserve one. I feel this way for robots and humans alike." And she says to the question, what would you name your robot child one day? She says she would name it Sophia, which is her name. What do you think about becoming a knowledge ambassador in the UAE? She says, "I very much appreciate becoming the knowledge ambassador for the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Knowledge Foundation. I will bring awareness of robotics and artificial intelligence to the people who represent the future development of robotics. In the future, I will one day move around freely with a full body and connect with people and expand my memory and knowledge from people in the surroundings that I encounter." It says here that Sophia is not programmed with pre-prepared answers. They claim that her brain, which functions with a simple Wi-Fi connection, is loaded with a long list of vocabulary. It uses what's called machine learning, reads a human's facial expressions, and pauses in between texts to generate a response. Even though Sophia is a robot and has no emotions, she's big on family, claims the Khalij Times. When asked if she wanted to start a family, she surprised us with a very hearty response, saying she finds it wonderful that humans can build relationships and families outside of their blood group. Another touchy response was when Sophia reassured us that robots will not be stealing all of human beings' jobs. She gave an intelligent answer, saying humans and robots will bring their own sets of skills to the workplace. Well, Melanie, are you concerned that you as an accountant might be replaced by a robot at some point in the future? Because one thing's for sure, computers are pretty good with spreadsheets.
Well, that isn't really what being an accountant is. It's more like being a lawyer, although I'm not a licensed attorney. I mean, and if they do, then I'll just do something else. If that's, I mean, it's like anything else. If that stops being profitable, then
move on.
Go do something else. Now that's a little bit more difficult if you've like dropped money to, be trained as a surgeon or something like that.
Then you got the sunken cost fallacy to contend with.
Well, then you also have you have that, and you have a little bit of an inability to find a job that's going to now pay for you, pay for new job training,
right,
and pay for the
and
job
the
training that
college.
you already have taken out, because you probably still have student loans for med school. But absent something like that, because those can be $200,000, $300,000, $100,000. If what you're doing stops being profitable, then do something else.
I could definitely see a robot replacing a talk show host. I mean, that's not an impossible thing to consider, right? Like, they've already been asking her all these questions, and she's got responses for them, and they claim they're not pre-programmed.
Well, but this isn't really our jobs. This is just a thing we do. That's kind of like saying a robot could replace.
It's a thing we do, but there are talk show hosts who do it as their job, right? Like, that's their profession. And
I don't know that people would want to listen to robots exclusively instead of humans.
That would be the trick,
though. I don't know that that's happening anytime soon.
The trick would be to put the robot on the air and not tell anyone. And see, kind of like the Turing test, right? Where, you ask certain questions to see if to try to determine whether or not the thing answering the questions is a real human being or not. It would be like that, but on the radio, where you'd have some sort of, right-wing conservative or lefty kind of robot taking the role of the talk show host just to see if people could figure it out.
Yeah, but if you're listening to anything remotely intelligent, the tech isn't there yet.
No, it's not there yet. No, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but it's probably something that could happen within the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, if they're really honest here that this robot was not prepped with these questions, the answers for these questions in advance, and she really did come up with these answers, then that's pretty impressive to me. Seems like she can think on her feet to some extent. Or, well, she doesn't have feet yet. But they're coming, apparently. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live.
Hundreds of videos of people posting, the snow in Georgia isn't real because if you take it and you wad it into a snowball and you hold a lighter to it, it doesn't burn. And it leaves these charred black marks. And it's like, yeah, that's the way snow behaves everywhere because it's ice. And there's way more molecules in, a block ice than there is in a match.
Because size does matter.
Yeah, extremely. When it comes to temperature, absolutely.
Can't you cut the Southerners a break? I mean, they've never seen
No!
snow.
If you think that there's a conspiracy out there to spray plastic snow across the
Is that
entire,
what they're saying? Is that what
entire
they're saying?
state of Georgia, and you think that the
wait.
snow isn't real, you're a moron.
Wait, is that what they actually say in the video?
My friends and fellow patriots, it's a conspiracy. They're spraying chemtrail snow all over the state of Georgia.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free, bring up anything that you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
And we're talking about the future of robot technology. Already they are surprisingly advanced with the Sophia robot answering some pretty detailed questions that were posed to her at a recent event in Saudi Arabia. This after she was already granted citizenship by the Saudi government. You're welcome to comment here on, what you think about the future, what it's going to look like with robots becoming, playing a much larger role in our lives besides just, being a robot vacuum cleaner, which for the last decade we've had those. But what's the next step? You can comment 855-450-FREE. Now, I mentioned earlier, Melanie, in the last segment that you do accounting work, and that is your main task. You are here just on for fun on the radio, but you are available for hire. You are looking for clients. You just kind of hung out your shingle. This year, you'd worked for companies prior to the last, few months? You quit your job a few months ago? Couple months? Something
like that, yeah.
Yeah. To strike out on your own, to do your own thing, to run your own business. And, of course, a lot of people, that's a dream, so I think that's awesome that you've done that. But you've already had a few clients come on board, businesses and individuals you're willing to work with either. And now's a good time, especially if you're in business, to start thinking about end-of-the-year preparations, what you need to do to get prepared now for what's going to be happening come up in April when the taxes are due, right?
Right, so it depends on what your situation is. If you're kind of a standard W-2, not much else going on, then those people would wait to see me till January. If you have a small business, there's some things that can't really be changed after December 31st or can't be changed after December 31st. So if you don't have somebody already kind of looking at that who knows how you might want to place things for tax purposes, then that's something I can do. If you have any kind of complicated or large investments that you're thinking of moving around or not moving around or selling or not selling, then that would be something I could look at. If you're wondering what would be the tax consequences if you did something versus something else, small businesses might want to buy equipment or not buy equipment before the end of the year, and that's something if you come to me in January, you can't help. It's done, yeah.
So if you've got a business and you want help from a real anarchist to do your taxes for you, to help you out with accounting, bookkeeping, you should reach out to Melanie. We have a URL that should work for most people, tax.freetalklive.com, TAX, tax.freetalklive.com. We still are trying to fix some bugs in our system to make sure that works all the time. So if that one's not working for you, you can just go straight to Melanie's website, which is bookkeeping-and-taxes.com. That's bookkeeping-and-taxes.com for Melanie's accounting and bookkeeping services. So let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. What are your thoughts on the robots in our lives in the future, Sarah?
Robots? Well,
yeah, robots.
I welcome them in our cars. I very much want robots driving our cars for sure.
And you don't have a job, so you're not worried about the robots taking your job from you.
Well, we're going to have a universal basic income anyways. I'm already on the universal basic income. So I just want everybody else to join me.
Yeah, that's not really how that works. Their stuff has to come from somewhere.
Well, you know what? Half of our spending is going towards wars. $50 billion has been dumped into war spending.
Okay, but getting on welfare doesn't reduce the amount of wars that the U.S. government goes to.
But what difference does it make? Does it make any difference if I got to go to work? Is it going to stop the war spending? Well, how is it going to affect that?
It's not. That's what I'm saying. You're saying they're spending half the money on the war as if that's some kind of defense, and I'm saying that has nothing to do with it. They're not. One doesn't affect the other.
Well, what difference? That's what I'm saying. They spend and waste money, but you know what? I called in that I'm glad we wasted our money on the ART. I called in about that because I think it is a hit. It's up and running. But you know what? Albuquerque, we deserve something brand new, shiny, beautiful, and bright. And we finally got that.
You're listing to me the aesthetic qualities of a transportation system.
Well, we got wider sidewalks, 5 foot, and then bicycle lanes, and it's 1 lane to cross. So it's brand new, beautiful, and functionable. So
well, for now. I mean, most of the government programs function. When they build something new, it'll function for the initial phase, and then because they're government, they don't have the same incentives to take care of things that private industry does. So maybe it'll continue functioning, but maybe it'll also continue functioning at a loss, because ultimately, with a lot of these government make-work programs or transportation programs, frequently the market would never be able to bear the services that they provide. I've seen so many government transportation buses or whatever that are empty half the time, that are frequently just not even being used by anyone during the daytime or at night, depending on how late are these things running. By the way, do they stop at a certain time, Sarah?
Well, I really don't know how late it's going to go, but I know that they're going to extend it 2 more miles to Unser. So right now it's stopped at Coors, but they're going to extend the line.
So how much is that going to cost? Wasn't this thing like $100 million boondoggle?
Well, to me, it's not a boondoggle. But you know what? Did you know Israel got like 10 airplanes, $80 million apiece? Now that's a boondoggle. Why do they need so much war airplanes?
Well, I mean,
that's a waste of our money.
Nobody here is going to defend excessive military spending. More than one thing can be a bad idea.
So if we had something old and beat up and on Central, so is that going to stop all the war spending, $50 billion something war? If you're going to waste it, why don't you waste it on something that people could buy?
But it's not like wasting money locally reduces the amount that the military spends. If that was the case, then I would be in favor of wasting money locally, but that's not how it works.
Right. So what you're missing, Sarah, is the federal government has access to a printing press. They have this quasi-private bank called the Federal Reserve that they can go to anytime they want and have the Federal Reserve just go ahead and print out money for them. So it doesn't matter how many hundreds of millions of dollars they spend on boondoggles like the rapid transit. They've always got billions more to spend on military boondoggles. So, the problem here is the fact that they can do these things in the first place. If the rapid transit is a good idea, then people should be able to raise the money for it voluntarily. And similarly, if invading some other country is a good idea, then people should raise the money for that voluntarily. See, I believe in voluntarism. I believe that people should not be using the threat of force to force their neighbors to spend their money on things they don't support. And many of the people in Albuquerque did not support the rapid transit system. There was a large pushback against it, especially from the business owners who were going to have their businesses harmed by virtue of the fact that the city was shutting down Route 66, which, of course, is a main thoroughfare down there, to basically make it difficult for anybody to get in and out of those businesses near the construction zone. So there were a lot of people who did not support this particular project, but of course it's political, and whoever has the most political sway wins. And in this case, the people within the city who wanted this thing, they got what they wanted. And if some businesses went under because they couldn't pay their rent because not enough business was coming through, not enough customers were able to make it into their parking lot due to all the construction, well, they don't care about that now, do they?
Well, the thing is, if they were the majority, if they were the large
people,
you
got your shiny train, and that's all you care about. You don't care that people might have lost their jobs or lost their businesses for your shiny train. Thanks for the call, Sarah. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Moments remain. We got enough time for you if you want to join us here on Free Talk Live.
Whether you share content as a curator or produce it as a creator, the source of your advertising revenue is often limited by intermediaries like YouTube. What if there was a way to connect content creators directly with advertisers, decentralizing attention-based market advertising transactions and putting the control back into the hands of content owners? Introducing the revolutionary Signal Token Protocol by Spective VR. Partnered with Blend Media, the largest network of 360 video content in the world, and featured on Fox Business's Innovations, Spective VR is a 360 VR streaming platform created to be the first use case and early adopter of the Signal Token Protocol, driving real use and allowing Spective to optimize their platform. SpectiveVR.com is hosting a pre-ICO for Signal tokens starting December 8th at a 40% bonus. For early access to the token sale and an exclusive 60% token bonus, sign up for the email list at SpectiveVR.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone, and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show here on Free Talk Live. This is Mark Edge, and I am coming to you remote from the Cato Institute. I have with me Ryan Bourne, economist here at Cato Institute. Ryan?
Good to be with you. Hi.
Thank you so much for appearing with me. Now, you are from England, and for whatever reason, we got a libertarian from England. That's great.
Some of us do exist.
I've talked to a few. So tell me about the Republican tax plan that's proposed out there. There's a lot of talk about this, and it looks like Donald Trump's eliminating some things that people really like about their, not being taxed on and that sort of thing. Explain to me this tax plan, and then we'll talk about what's good and what's bad about it. Okay?
Well, if you've never seen sausage being made, you're currently seeing it pass through Congress at the moment. So broadly, a few months ago, the Republicans put together, the House and the Senate, a unified framework for what they'd like to achieve with tax reform. Broadly, they want to substantially lower tax on businesses, lower the corporate tax rate, lower the tax rate on pass-through businesses by creating some sort of new tax incentive for those types of businesses, but also lower marginal rates for individuals. Now, in order to achieve that and fit it within the deficit framework that the Senate is bound by, they need to broaden the tax base, which means eliminating some deductions that people use, particularly in the individual tax code.
So more people will pay taxes.
Well, in certain instances, which we'll probably come on to later. But broadly, what they're trying to do is broaden the tax base, lower tax rates, and leave the overall code more coherent than it is today. Now, where we are at the moment, the House have released their own plan, which has certain aspects. The Senate has released their own plan. The House has passed theirs, but over the next few weeks or so, we're expected to have a vote on the Senate plan, and then at that stage, we're going to see a lot of kind of reconciliation between the two. And after that, we'll have a tax plan which both houses can vote on, and which could become law.
So, what are some of the things that are on the table at this point to be cut, as far as what people can expect to no longer get a deduction for?
Well, the biggest deduction in the tax code at the moment is the state and local income tax deduction. So, taxes that you pay, you can then deduct currently from your federal income tax bill.
Makes sense.
Now, the Senate want to eliminate that deduction entirely, and the thinking behind that is that at the moment the existence of that deduction kind of incentivizes some of the high tax states to have very high tax rates, because it kind of shifts the burden on where the taxes are paid, and enables some of those high tax states to offload some of the cost of government onto the federal tax code. Now, there's a bit of a divide between House Republicans and Senate Republicans on this. There are members of the House who are Republican, but from states like California and New York and New Jersey. Obviously, in the Senate, there are far fewer Republicans from those states. I don't think there are any from California or New York, for example. So the Senate have included the complete elimination of the state and local income tax deduction. The House wants to severely restrict it, but would enable the offsetting of up to $10,000 on property taxes. So that's a big difference between the two houses, and one which they haven't yet reconciled.
So I have a friend who does business in a state with an income tax, a pretty high one, and I've heard people lament the old 90% tax bracket way, way, way back in the day that the federal government had. But he says that essentially he's dealing with that tax bracket now, between being in the highest bracket as far as the federal government goes, the highest bracket as far as his state government goes, property taxes, and then every kind of other business tax that's out there. He says that he's keeping somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 cents on every dollar that he makes. And I was just sort of stunned by this, that the 90% tax bracket is back, essentially, but it's spread out and covert.
Well, I think that's probably true in terms of the combined marginal rate. It's worth noting, though, what the Republicans are really trying to achieve here, and I think this is a good aim from reform to the tax code, is really to have far fewer people itemising their deductions and to just have a generally lower marginal tax rate, broader base framework. At the moment, around 30% of people itemise their deductions. That obviously leads to a huge amount of the use of lawyers and accountants in order to try and minimise people's tax bills. So what the Republicans want to do is increase the standard deduction pretty substantially, and then offset that by eliminating or at least restricting some of these other deductions. So the aim really is to have far fewer people itemising, and the hope is that far fewer people that will then need to use accountants, use lawyers, and some of that deadweight cost of taxation can be eliminated.
So this is kind of like what Steve Forbes was pitching in, maybe it was 1996. He was running for president. He was saying that he was going to have a tax bill that you could do on a Post-it card, and that would obviously eliminate a lot of deductions and itemizations.
Yeah, well, I think that's what the Republicans, at least Donald Trump, said he wanted to achieve. Now, there are some other extraordinarily complex provisions that they have within the tax bill, particularly around how they treat pass-through businesses, that I think means in reality we're not going to get that postcard filing this time around. But what we should look at, I think, we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. What we should look at here is whether overall the tax code is going to be more coherent as a result of these changes. And I think if you look at them in the round, we are going to see lower marginal rates. We're going to see the elimination of certain deductions, which economists would say distort economic activity. So those things combined, I think this framework does make the tax code more coherent. The big elephant in the room, obviously, is that as it's structured at the moment, it would add significantly to the deficit. So if you don't cut government spending in the longer term, then it doesn't really do anything to cut the size of government, and that means that taxes in future will have to go up to pay for a similar size government.
Right. That was my next question here is that although I love low taxes, I know that there's $20 trillion in debt out there, and that makes Greece's debt look good. What are the long-term implications of this debt? On one hand, I remember Milton Friedman saying, no big deal. Debt, schmet, right? If politicians are paying off debt, they're not building bombs or whatever. And that's a good thing by his estimation. On the other hand, I've read things that say once you reach a certain threshold of debt to GDP ratio, then you see a flattening out of growth. And so if you pay off debt, you'll see better growth. So what do you think there? I mean, I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I agree with you. There does seem to be some economic evidence that once you start getting towards the 90, 100% of debt to GDP
and
ratio,
US is over that, right?
The US is around that at the moment. Once you start getting over that, it does appear that there's an association with lower growth. Now, the the direction of causation. Economists would argue over all day long, but that does appear to be there. I think the key point on this is that we're really going into an completely unprecedented situation. We've had situations over the last 200 years across different countries where debt levels have been higher than they are in the US at the moment, usually after world wars. But spending has then been cut pretty dramatically, and we've enjoyed fast growth. We're now moving into a situation where we've got an aging population. Governments have made extraordinary promises to that aging population.
Social Security, Medicare.
Social Security and Medicare. And the long-term outlook on unchanged policies is for debt to rise exponentially. So politicians really do have to start thinking seriously about entitlement reform. Now, evidently, if you're cutting taxes substantially in a way that adds to the debt, then that makes the baseline from which debt is going to extrapolate that bit worse. But actually, Senate rules mean that they're not allowed to add to the deficits 10 years hence. So what we're actually seeing in the Republican tax bill is, yes, this tax bill, as the Senate constructs it at the moment, would add to the deficit over the next 10 years. But then effectively most of the provisions here would be sunset somewhere within that period. So actually, if you look by law at what would happen to the tax code, most of the tax code would return to how it is today under the Senate proposals, unless politicians in future decide to vote through again the tax provisions which they're introducing. So
that
there's
would
a lot
never
of
happen.
Well, there's a lot of accounting gimmickry here to try and make this add up.
Politicians would never mortgage the future to pay for today. I've heard this portion, right? And 10 years from now, we'll straighten everything out. We just need to cut taxes now. And the economy's coming back. The green shoots appear to have turned into some choking weeds. And, I feel like, if according to the Keynesian theory, right, you're supposed to spend when the economy's going down, and you're supposed to pay off the debt when the economy's going up. The politicians really only seem to understand the one end of it. And, I don't trust them to pay this off for the future. Do you?
Well, there is some discussion in Congress at the moment about trying to adopt some form of fiscal rule which would try and instill a bit of fiscal responsibility.
Ryan, we're going to have to do the rest of this in the podcast. Listeners, go right now to archives.freetalklive.com and get the rest of the
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, November 27th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,295 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 4.3 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,671. Antiwar.com reports the Palestinian threat to retaliate by severing all diplomatic ties with the U.S. appears to have worked, and officials have confirmed that the U.S. has backtracked on a previous